that we are. Oh, hello. We are live creating with Selene. How are you today? It is on the fly. And this week I had some questions. Actually, just last night, someone on Zoom suggested that we talk about layouts and color selection. So a few weeks back, I did a post and I asked you guys what stands in the way of your card making. And most people said either layouts or colors. So I thought that I would give you a little bit of what I do to get creative when I start designing my card classes. So a bit different today. So let's flip over. I'm going to show you, I got this paper here from Stamp Club this week. And this is the Country Woods Designer Series paper. You might notice I put a post-it note or a sticky note on here with the colors because when I open a package of designer paper and I cut into it, this one is actually for club this week. We're making 8 gorgeous cards out of this paper. When I have leftovers, I like to have the bag labeled as to what colors are inside, especially if I don't have the full pack of designer paper. So actually, this one's my favorite pattern out of this one. But in this color pack, it's basic beige, basic gray, crumb cake, early espresso, gray granite, misty moonlight, pecan pie, petal pink, pool party, smoky slate, and wild wheat, which we don't have anymore. But let me tell you, when I go to pick colors, I will go to colors that I can pick prominently. So let's say in this one, the ones that pop out at me the most are early espresso, because that's all the lines in between, and then pool party and petal pink. I don't feel like I need to own every color in the book if I'm a new stamper. I just want to get 2 colors and maybe a neutral or 2 that come in the paper pack so that I don't feel like I need to spend so much to get started. That being said, a lot of my classes come like that and they are ready to go. So this month's club, for example, I used pool party and espresso on this one. This one I pulled in Mossy Meadow because we were using Mossy Meadow branches and gray granite. This one was all about basic beige and gray granite together. Who would think to put those two together? But I loved the way it all came together. And then this one was all black and white because it's a zebra card. So that's just an example of the cards that we are making this week in Card Club. So that being said, it got me thinking, and last night people were saying, well, how do you get your layout ideas? So to be fair, I have a whole IKEA cube. It's a 16 by 16 cube of papers that I have printed out. So when I'm looking at a stamp set, I look and see how big my images are, so to speak, get an idea of how large of surface that I'm working with. And then I look through and I just grabbed something off my big shelf. Now this is an old class I designed. These are old. Oh, look at an old Valentine I did. So some of these are my cards. Actually, I know who made that card. It was Robin Merriman. When I see stuff that inspires me, I print it out. And when I want to, I come back and look at these. This is one of mine. But you'll see that there's a good mix. Oh, that's one of mine. One of mine. Let's see who. I don't see who made that one. It's not on here. But these are just general jumping off points for cards. Now, another one of my favorite sites to do this from, and it's no longer a site, was Operation Right Home. So if you're on Google or you're on Pinterest, you can Google OWH sketches, and they have sketches with measurements. Ta-da! So if you're afraid to cut your paper because you're thinking that you might waste your paper, this is a great jumping off point. Like I'm already, my brain is firing looking at this stamp set and looking at this sketch. So I'm going to put this one to the side. This was designed by Creative Convention Online. This, I think, was Erica Serwin. Like I get my inspiration from everywhere, but I don't necessarily, my brain doesn't fire looking at a computer. So I like to have it in paper, in print form, so that I can pick out a sketch or two to decide when I want to sit down and make a card. Oh, this one was really cute. This little bunny, and just a strip of that paper that's, oh, look at petal pink. It's some of the same colors that were just in the designer paper I was just showing. Anyway. Oh, I like this one too. So this one might be nice. This was freshly made sketches. Again, when I get a good sketch, I'll print it out and add it to my file. Sam Hammond is here. There's so many people that inspire me, and I just go through and pick out my favorites. Of course, I have a few favorite layouts that I fall back on, you know, um, in my arsenal of cards that I always make. Julie Davidson's one. Let's see, who else inspires me? Everybody. Seriously. You guys inspire me. I go out in the world and that inspires me. Gail Ellis, she's awesome. I love her cards. This is a little busy for me, but it doesn't matter. Like, I will take a layout. These were ones I did from a kit that I liked. So, printed them out. Mojo Monday, that was Julie Tillman. I love her sketches. But these are all sketches, but absolutely one of my favorites is Operation Right Home. Now, I also ran a sketch challenge for about 5 years. Every Saturday, there was 5 years worth of sketches, 173 different layout ideas. And if you're interested, I linked to that website in the description of this video. It's stamping411.blogspot.com, and it's with the G, so don't forget to put the G. And it's always been my thought process that I could support my customers and friends better using my customers and friends, and they could support their customers and friends if we all work together. Hey, Tracy. So working together has been great, and it's from the very beginning we all posted one technique. So if you go to the right-hand sidebar of that website, there's directions for so many different techniques. And although the samples are old, you can just make them new again. They're all pretty fresh and ready to go again. Oh, how you doing, Margaret? Oh my goodness. So, yeah. So I am inspired by everyone and everything and all of you and my friends in Stampin' Up. And I still believe that when I walk beside my friends, I can support my customers better, because it's not just my style that'll inspire somebody. It's all of us collectively, and even better when we get to bounce off each other. So, here we go. So this is Operation Right Home again. You can see my bin of their stuff is very heavy. Look at all of these. And some of these are creating success, which that's my friend Rhonda Wade. And we do a lot of work together. I do 3 class tutorials a month on her Creative Corner. But again, we're working together to inspire each other. And my style might be different from Rhonda's, or it might be different from Erica's, or it might be different from yours. But like, if you get an idea, you never know what's going to spark the creativity train. Oh, I like all those squares. So I'm looking here. So something else, since I've got you and we're talking about this, I am accepting cards. So we used to do Operation Right Home, and now we do Operation Care for Troops. So what we do now is a little bit different. We accept cards that are written out to service members that are deployed and far from home. And we actually write messages in them. My daughter has partnered with Miss New Hampshire for years, since they were little. And they send out about 12,000 packages every few months. So if you have cards that are thinking of you, or thank you for your service, or thank you in general, we are accepting cards. No glitter, please, because if someone is deployed, glitter could make them visible if they're in a battle situation. But we send it to, people with kids that are far away, that are away from home, so that they can get a little taste of home. So some of them have like ramen, and there's a full package, and then a hand-signed card or note on the top of the package. So we appreciate you. If you want to donate, let me know. I'll get you the address. I have it posted. And we don't need envelopes because it's going right in the box, signed to them. So, okay. So getting back to that, it inspired me today to grab, ooh, this is a layout that I've done before and that I love. I come back to it. And look at this one. It's got a star right on it, ready to go. You know what? Since we're here, how about if we play with this one? So normally, I love to pick a designer series paper, like I told you before, and pick 2 or 3 colors and maybe a neutral and go from there. But in this case, we don't really have any red, white, and blue designer paper right now. I'm going to take that big pile and put it over there. I'll put it back up on the shelf here in a minute. But what I am going to do is I'm going to bring in this bundle here, and maybe we'll cut some paper and make a card. Why don't we use this sketch? So I might have to die cut. We could bring the die cut machine over if we need it. Here we go. I got my trimmer. Oh my goodness. I got my die cutter here. All right, and we're going to get moving. Look at how horrible my pad is. One of my friends was saying that she actually cleans her pad. I don't know if my cutting pad is actually cleanable at this point. It is so beyond, but I will spray it down and see what comes off it. My goodness. They say that you can run it through 100 times before you need to replace the cutting pad. I'm going to go, this is upwards of 10,000 cuts on both sides. So this is a tried and true one. The reason that I like it is it has stayed flat. So I flip it over whenever it gets unruly, and yeah, it seems to be the lucky one for now. Knock on wood. So I don't have any red, white, and blue designer paper. I could use, like I said, the one that I'm using for club, but I want something a little bit more contrasty and more 4th of July feeling. So that's where I'm going today. Oh, Margaret, it's so good to see you, my friend. So if you're here, say hello and let me know where you're joining us from. I'm going to start, and I know that this has a layer that goes all the way to the edge, but I'm going to put another layer in there. I'm going to cut a 5 1/4 by 4. Because again, I don't have any designer paper, so I thought maybe we would make some designer paper. So 4 by 5 1/4. That seems like a good place to start. This looks like it's a little bit off. Let's see. All right. Cut that little tiny piece and make sure I clear out the blade. Oh, sorry if I was outside the frame there. I got my cut and emboss up here, so I don't want to get too far away. All right. So I have a cutting pad here. So these are mats, and they are intended for piercing back in the day, but we use them underneath stamps when we stamp on the table sometimes. And since I'm going to make a background, I'm definitely going to go off the paper. I'm digging that big star, and I think that that would be the first move. So let me grab some blocks, and I have some ink right here. All right, here we go. So as you know, with photopolymer stamps, you peel them off and you stick them on the block. And I usually will take a Sharpie and outline on the outside of this so that I can figure out where my stamp goes, but I'm going to live on the edge because I have stamp club starting at 5 o'clock. And I run a couple of sessions tonight, 5 and 6:30. Tomorrow we start at 10, and then we do 5 and 6:30. And then Thursday we have a 5 o'clock. Usually I'll do a 10 o'clock on Thursday as well, but we didn't have anybody signed up this time, so I get to sleep in on Thursday morning. Hey, MJ. So good to see you, my friend. Okay, so, MJ was working with this set earlier this month. You can find her on MJ Shady Inkers. I love watching her videos. So here we go. I got my blueberry bushel on blueberry bushel. So I'm just adding random ink. Well, I shouldn't say random. This is something I learned when I was new to stamping too. When you're stamping a background, I used to just kind of like make a snowstorm if we were talking like snowflakes or whatever. But in this case, I am making like a 2-inch bumper around each of my images to make a pattern. And then I'm going to go right off the paper and just fill in where there's holes. So it's a nice little bumper. So if I came in with a circle punch, I could punch this out and maybe even get one from there, you know. And it makes a nice background this way. So press and hold on the photopolymer to get nice even coverage. And a tip I learned from MJ was if you are having a hard time, clean your stamp, use Versamark first, and then ink up and stamp again, and usually it fixes the problem. But we're just trying to get some color on color to make a nice base for our card. Okay, so this is, again, the sketch that we picked. Okay, and I know this is much bigger than what we thought, but that's okay. I was going to go with a basic white thick card base. So let's bring our trimmer in, and I'm going to zoom out a little so you can see more of my table. Hopefully you'll be able to see. So on the Stampin' Up! Measuring paper cutter tool, whatever, this long line that sits on the ruler, it's part of the ruler, is actually the 5.5 mark. So I don't have to extend my blade or anything, extend my ruler unless I go past 6, which we're not going to for a card. Okay. All right, so I'm going to first score this in half one way, 4 1/4. So score it on the 8.5 side at 4 1/4. And then I'm going to flip it and cut it at 5.5. And again, I don't really have to measure because the 5.5 line is this big long line. I don't know if you're seeing it in the center of this ruler. So it is easy to find every time, which is nice for my eyes at this point in life. Just saying. Okay, that's pretty. And then I'm just going to cut a 1-inch strip so that we're, well, yep, I'm going to make it 1 inch. I was going by the sketch and I was kind of eyeballing it. And that's what a sketch challenge is for. It's meant to be a jumping off point so that you can decide what you want to do. So at this point, I've got this piece, I've got the piece we stamped on. The sketch has like this thing going across, and of course I'll cut that down. So let's do that, 4 1/4. And then there's a sentiment. So, here, let me throw that on the floor. Just got my workout for the day. Had to go chase it. Let's see. All right, so I like this. You make a difference. And you know what? You do make a difference. All those people that have been sending cards in so that these young kids who are deployed can get a package from home that makes them feel like a little bit of normal while they're away, you're just as much of a hero. So thank you for sending in samples for that. Hey, Melissa. Nice to see you. Okay, so you make a difference. Ta-da. And I did go with the thick because I had already cut into it, which is fine. I love how it pops here. Almost done. I love that other part. I love that about a sketch challenge too, because when you use a sketch, you can make cards so fast, and it doesn't have to be you know, a 2-hour card. It's not very often that I take that amount of time to make a card. My design process would be I look for things that fit what I want and then I make a decision. So it's not terrible. All right, I'm going to give that a second to dry because I just don't want to make any issues here. Okay, so I'm going to bring that sketch back in. It looks like they used 2 different kinds of designer paper, but where we are making our own designer paper, maybe I'll just grab a piece of real red so we have that contrast. I'm going to let that dry before we cut it out. Cut it out. Ta-da! Okay. And I do already have real red on the table. And I'm looking at this sketch. It looks like this is much thinner. So a lot of times when I will set up for a card, I'll do 4x3 for designer paper, and then 4¼ by 3¼ for the outline. But I think I'm going to take it down to like, I don't know, 3½ by 2½ because it looks smaller to me on the sketch. And again, it's just a way for you to start. And then when you go there, you're like, oh, I can do this. I can do that. So fun fact, if you cut a piece of paper, oh, my score blade's coming out. If you cut a piece of paper to 2¾ oh, it might be time for a cutting blade on this one. You can get 4 pieces from a sheet of 11 inches long. So if I were cutting 3¾ by 2¾ I would get 8 from one sheet of paper. But what I wanted to do was have a little bit left over and put a white border on this. So I'm going to go up 2 lines, 2 5/8 by 3 5/8. So I'm going to put a skinny border on this. People are like 5/8, but it's not that hard. You go to 3½ and you go over 2 lines on the 16-inch, 1/16 inch ruler. So then this should be really tight with a 1/16 of an inch border like that. Okay, let's go back to our stamp set for a minute because this was designer paper in the sketch and I didn't have designer paper. What else do we have in here? Oh, how about these little stars? Oh my gosh, I have a giant block for these little stars. I like to have a little block for little stars, so let me grab one. Anybody else mush when you get too much block? I do. All right, so let's stick this onto the block. And we'll pull in the real red ink pad. And I had a stamping mat with, oh, there. The table is already a mess. And I do have people coming in starting at 5, so I'll have to zip and clean up the table, but let's get this military card made first. So yeah, if you're interested in helping, we have hundreds of cards going to them for the fall packing. And I think I'm actually going to go through my Christmas cards and have Alexis pull them all out of the bags with the envelopes and gift those and start fresh this year. I'm just feeling like I want to give them to the military. So I'm going to. I have a lot of fall and Christmas cards. I probably have 4 bins of them, which is a lot for me. So I always use a small block. Yeah, exactly. I need it to be smaller so that I don't make a mess. So again, this video came out of the request of having ideas for picking colors and layouts. So for this, the colors I picked, I wanted patriotic colors because there'd be military cards. But normally I'll pick a designer paper and I'll pick 1 or 2 colors in that designer paper and I'll just get those particular colors and try not to go crazy because then you have enough supplies that you can make a whole bunch of cards and you don't break the bank and you feel like you get your money's worth. So there's the white on white. So let's see what it looks like with the blue. Oh, see, this is what I wanted. Ta-da. All right. My retreat in June in Maine, Kennebunk, Maine, the theme is Americana. So I'm kind of like back and forth on what I'm going to do for the projects because I haven't seen anything Americana yet in the catalog or in the online exclusives. Kind of hoping that there'll be one in the May online exclusives when we get to see them. I think there's one coming in May. Oh, well, there is. We saw some of it, but you never know. We've got that silly old bear that I think is going to sell out on the first day. If you're a demonstrator, you're lucky because you can get it now. And then everybody else, you better set your alarm because I have a feeling that that's going to sell out on the first day. All right. So I got my card almost put together here. And I was going to run this through with the dies, but this is such an easy fussy cut that I'm just going to go for it and fussy cut this star. So hang out with me for 1 second. It beats pulling in the machine and shaking the table and all of that. So, and that's a good thing. Like, you don't always need to die cut. Although there are some die cuts that I like better than the stamp sets. It just depends on what we're working with. Like those strawberries. Oh, I love the dies for that. Okay. Almost gonna be strawberry season soon. They'll definitely be planting near where I live. Okay. That wasn't too painful. I'm gonna see. I had dimensionals here. They are gone, but let me grab. Ooh. You know what? I want to fussy cut some more. I mean, I like it, but I think it just needs a little bit of a layer. So here we go. So it'll have 2 colors behind it. And I'm going to make this layer. So I always leave a white border when I'm cutting around a die cut image. But this time I'm just going to leave it a little bit wider than I left the white so that the red will have a place to sit. And I'm thinking I should go get some just old-fashioned rhinestones for this because it doesn't need anything. It's so vibrant on its own. Did any of you get this stamp set yet? It was first on my list for this release. And Alexis bought her own bundle because she's like, I'm not waiting for this one to retire to get your leftovers. She's like, I need my own. Smart girl. Here we go. I got my dimensionals. Yeah, definitely should use some bling. Maybe some Winkostella. It's always good time for Winkostella. Oh yeah, that's better. And I took a few too many dimensionals. I think I'm only going to use 1 dimensional. When have I ever done that? Probably never. Here. Okay, so you make a difference. And then maybe we'll fill in some of these stars because I like it, but it needs something. Oh, you know what we could do? We have that new gel pen that came in. I wonder if I have it over here. The Stampin' Up! Has a brand new gel pen. We used them at convention and they're awesome. You just have to go slow. So when you roll it on, that's the only rule. But you could make dots on this. Now I feel like I'm committed. I have to hit every single star. It's kind of fun. I'm going across and then making like an A. As always, I appreciate you guys very much. I will post this card on Facebook tomorrow after my morning session of Club Leaves. And I appreciate you all very much. If you have an idea for a future video, because today was all about colors and layouts, like where I get my ideas for layouts and colors, let me know and I will make it one of the upcoming videos. And what else? Oh, and don't forget to check out the link in this video because it's not to anything. It's not to order or nothing. It is an old website full of. It started with how to read a ruler, and we built it. There were 8 of us, and we had guest presenters, and there's boxes and all sorts of things. Oh, thank you, Cheryl. I love you guys. I am so grateful for all of you here. Let's take another quick look at the card. Um, yeah, you make a difference. I love how vibrant this is. Like, we made our own designer paper. We really didn't need designer paper here, but when I do use, oh, I missed a can't be neglecting the wink. I do use designer paper a lot and just pick 2 colors and a neutral from the paper, and that's how I pick my colors. And then the layout you saw, you can't even believe how big. I have a bin that's this big full of paper printouts of cards that have inspired me over the years. And that's some of you on this, on this video watching. And anyway, I appreciate all of you and I hope you have a great week. And like I said, tell me what to do on Tuesday. If you have ideas for an upcoming video, let me know and I will do your idea. Thank you.